Ray, and I live with my husband, Bruce. We live in Southern California. We live about an hour and maybe 15 minutes south of Los Angeles Airport, and probably about a 25-minute drive to Disneyland for some of you that might kind of figure out where we live. But anyways, I've been married for 33 years to Bruce. Bruce is a New Zealander. And anyways, we spent 20 years down in the Southern Hemisphere, and we absolutely love Australia and New Zealand. We did live on the Sunshine Coast over there for about 14 years. And we spent time in Auckland, New Zealand, and lived there for 6 years. So anyway, that's just a little bit background on me. We've had 3 children, and we have a son that's 28, a son that's 30, and then a daughter that's 19. And so what else? I'm 57 years old. So, you know, life begins in your 50s. 50s are your prime. And I have a real passion to help people, especially in the area of their health. Health and wealth is something that I'm very passionate about. And this whole, what you're looking at today, we are all part of what I call the happiness movement. I love spreading happiness, health, and wealth.
So if you ever light on vodka.
We've got someone a little unmute her, but anyway, so that's a little bit about me. And so yeah, I love health, and I just think it's really important. There's a lot of people out there that aren't feeling that well, and they're not doing that well in their health. And so really my passion is I'm really targeting specifically people in their like later 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I've got a lady in her 90s that uses this amazing product that's enhanced her life cognitively with energy. And I don't know about you, but let me ask you the question, you know, how are you doing in your health? And how is your energy levels? And how is your mental acuity? Because we have something here that's very special, that's really made a difference in my life, in my husband Bruce's life, and in our children's life. So about 2.5 years ago, I got a phone call from a lady that I didn't really know. I'd met her a couple times. I was involved in a previous health company previously, and I saw her name show up on my phone, and I thought, oh, it's Lisa. And I answered the phone, and we had a lovely chat. And just as we were gonna hang up, she said to me, you know, I'm gonna jump on the phone tonight, and I'm gonna listen to a couple that are launching a happiness movement to do with health and all that kind of thing. And I just asked her, and I said, look, do you think I can listen? Do you think I can have a listen to, you know, what you're gonna be jumping on? I knew nothing. I didn't really know the lady that called me. I've met her a couple times in my life. And she said, oh, I don't know. Let me find out, I'll ask. And so she ended up texting me saying, you know, yep, you can jump on the phone tonight and have a listen. And that is when I met Mark and Judy Willitson, my husband, Bruce, and I. My husband came home from work, and I said, honey, we're going to jump on a phone call tonight and talk to a couple. You know, a bit of our background is we have been in what I call relationship marketing. It is network marketing, but I believe that all of us are created to network in general. We need community, and especially in such a time as now with what's going on out there in the world, you know, like there's so much uncertainty. There's so much, the whole coronavirus and the riots and things going on in the United States of America. There's no better time now than to gather people and connect because we're created for that. And so, you know, this whole, what I call movement culture here is so much more than a product. And the product that we got introduced with this is a coffee beverage. It's a functional beverage. Funny enough, you know, I did not drink coffee. I didn't drink it much. Every now and then I'd have a vanilla latte out, but I didn't like the strong caffeine feel. And so I tried to stay off coffee in my life. And also knowing that it can be pretty acidic on the system, I didn't want, you know, it in my joints and that kind of thing, because, you know, all of us, as we move on in life, you know, the things that we're consuming on a daily basis do show up in our health. It's like compounding interest. So I'm very passionate about, you know, what I sow into my body. So anyway, 2.5 years ago, when I got on the phone with my husband and had a conversation and met for the first time Mark and Judy Willitson, who are just wonderful people. Like, you know, I'm a very discerning lady, and I have a lot of intuition. And when we were on the phone, I'm a person that's skeptical. I asked a lot of questions to Judy Willitson on the phone about this product, about what this company, the culture and all that. And, you know, not being a coffee drinker myself. So I ended up, because of how I felt when I hung up the phone with Mark and Judy, I had this real strong feeling of like a green light in my mind's eye. And, you know, I just don't think it's by chance that any of you are on here right now having a listen, because this is an opportunity. And, you know, we need to be open to opportunity, and especially more than ever now with the things that are changing so much out there, because, you know, we could all use more happiness. We could all use a product that helps us along the way with energy, mental acuity, maybe perhaps through the testimonials and stories, you'll hear a few live short testimonials. We won't take much of your time, of people that have gotten on what we call the dose. And what dose is it's a coffee. It's an instant coffee. It's a functional beverage, okay? And we also have chocolate and lemonade and a vanilla chai tea latte. Our products, we focus on the brain. So they're nootropical ingredients in natural botanicals. I don't go into the big educating about ingredients. That's something you can look up on the website of the person that you know brought you in today. All of our products are, you know, approved and above board. They're like, I read labels. I am so into health and organic and all that. So I'm really picky, and I'll tell you, if I say the products are good, then there's other people that are really skeptical too. And these products are really amazing. And being a non-acidic coffee, it's just amazing. A lot of people do add it to their existing coffee. If they're hardcore coffee drinkers, they can add this functional beverage to get the nootropics and the benefits of the nootropics into their body, so they can get the, you know, the benefits, the consequences of taking the product. So, you know, my story with getting on dose, we also have another product called Xanthromax. I did look it up on pubmed.gov. It's a government website here in the USA. I looked up xanthrohumol. There's many clinical studies on it. I had never heard of it 2.5 years ago. And it is very, very powerful anti-inflammatory product. Our formulator here, who created our coffee, wanted to put what's in the Xanthromax in the coffee beverage, but because it would make the coffee taste really hard to get down, he put it into a capsule that's a liposome capsule that bypasses the acidity in your stomach, and it goes straight into your small intestine. And excuse me if I pronounce the liposome incorrectly, but anyways, you got the gist of it. It's all about the delivery system. So when you take these two products together, which is a Xanthromax, it's a capsule in the delivery system I just mentioned. It's a very powerful turmeric and xanthrohumol. And I don't know if any of you have heard of like resveratrol, which is a powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-ager. Is 200 times more powerful than that. And so it's just an amazing natural product that helps put the fire out as far as inflammation in the body. And inflammation is the beginning of disease, which I break down that word to dis-ease, because everything starts and then progresses into. So if we can all take something that's going to help us in our health, a lot of people do that anyway. They go to the health food store, and you can do it through a functional beverage. It's just a win-win situation. Here in the United States, 480 million cups of coffee are drunk by 10 a.m. in the morning. So even though I wasn't a strong coffee drinker, it doesn't matter. A lot of other people out there are. And I've really grown to absolutely love this product. It is so good. I've taken it every day for 2.5 years. It has helped me tremendously with hormone decline. As a 57-year-old lady, you know, woman, I say aging is not for wimps. It can kick your butt, I'll be honest, and it's kicked a lot of people's butts. And men also go through their andropause. They go through their stuff too. So, you know, it's helped me tremendously with hormone decline in my personal feeling. You know, I have such a mental clearness in my head where when I used to drink regular coffee, I'd get more like that fog brain or that good pickup, but then I'd come down and you know, I'd be more tired feeling, where when I got on this dose product, the coffee with the capsule, I had clarity like a steam train. I mean, I take it and I feel so clear-headed and I have so much energy. I mean, you know, I don't believe that we need to adapt to that. As you get older, it's just you're gonna get all tired and you're gonna end up, you know, on the rocks, like a beat up boat that's ended up on the rocks. We need to finish strong in our lives, and we all, you know, we all are important, all of us, and it's important to look after your health. It's important for me to look after my health, because then I'll be the best version of myself to my husband and to my children. So I just want to encourage you to have an open mind. And, you know, I got involved with this culture really because of the feel of the culture, the heart-led organization that it is, and because I really love and jive with the people. You know, there's a saying that your vibe attracts your tribe. And here at this company, people are down to earth. They're very authentic. There's no super salespeople, and there's no having to be someone else outside of who you are. And who can't share a cup of coffee or a glass of lemonade with somebody? So this is really the simplest thing that I've ever done. And I know with the coronavirus and the quarantine and what everyone's been going through with storing food, I read in an article that coffee's at the top of the list when you're in quarantine. I'd way rather have the Elevate coffee than the black beans, I'll tell you that much. So we just have a great product that's so easy to share, you guys. So anyways, let me see what I wrote down here. You know, I really am having fun here. So I'm gonna bring on some live testimonials of 4 different people that are going to share a short testimonial of basically what happened in their life when they had a look at this product, tried the product. So without taking too much of your time, I would like to introduce Camille Wood. Are you out there? Could you unmute yourself and
yes,
come on and share?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Aloha. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy to be on here. I am coming from the great state of Hawaii. I live on Oahu on the windward side of the island. So I kind of feel this tie to Australia and New Zealand in some sense. We have best friends that live in New Zealand, and we're planning on going there in November. So I can't wait. And I hope that maybe I can connect with some of my elopreneurs while I'm there, if I'm able to travel to New Zealand, of course, due to travel. Anyways, besides that, so I'll tell you my story. I was introduced to these wonderful products, this amazing coffee, in January of 2019 by a great friend of mine. She just reached out to me randomly and said, I have this thing that's changed my life. I want to share it with you. And to give you just a perspective of my life at that point, I have 4 children that I homeschool. Here in Hawaii, we were living in a very tiny house, 600 square feet, and we were in the middle of construction. So half the house had been added onto but wasn't finished, and so we're still living in this tiny house because of the homeschooling and all of that stress around me. It was taking a toll because it'd been a couple years that we'd been under this stress because we did all the work ourselves, my husband and I. And so I found myself at 38 years old feeling unlike I had ever felt. I was sleeping every afternoon. I was exhausted. I was drinking 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day. I was snapping at my children. My husband and I were getting in arguments constantly. And it wasn't like big arguments. It was like stupid stuff. And, you know, once a week, you know, I'm a very transparent person. Once a week, my husband and I, one of us was sleeping on the couch because we just couldn't function healthily. And that was very unusual. We'd always gotten along really well in our marriage. So there was definitely something to the stress. the other thing was, I got my hormones tested. I felt like there was something wrong with my hormones. Everything came back normal. I had nothing off with my hormones, but my PMS symptoms were getting bad and all that stuff. So when my girlfriend reached out to me, I was like, shh, I don't want to hear about it. Like, I just was in the worst mood, and I'm a pretty positive person, but at that point in my life, I wasn't open. And so I let a couple weeks go by ignoring her email. And then I saw something pop up on her Facebook, and she wasn't very active on Facebook, but it caught my attention. And it was a before and after picture of this woman. And it wasn't a weight loss testimony. It was a before of, she was grumpy and tired and irritable and not sleeping and all this stuff. And then after was, she was happy, she was content, she was sleeping well, like all this positivity. And I thought, oh, interesting. And have you ever found yourself like bringing something into your brain, but not really bringing it in? Well, I had this moment of, I think that I must have seen happy coffee in that post. So a couple days later, I was like, I'm going to Google happy coffee. Totally a skeptic, thinking coffee couldn't really do all those things. I'm from Seattle originally. We drink coffee like crazy. How could coffee make you that happy? But I Googled it, and I found some YouTube videos, testimonials from people on the products, and I was blown away. And I said, okay, and secretly in my heart, I was like, I hope that this is what Julie's talking about. I love coffee, and if this coffee could do what this is doing for people, I want it. So I reached out to her, and all I said was, are you talking about happy coffee? And I didn't say anything else. So she called me back. She told me her story. She said, I'm sending you 6 days of the coffee, which was such a gift. It arrived on January 4th. And my first day of dose was actually January 5th, 2019, on my birthday. And I felt like the first day that I had it, I just cried because I felt so good. My brain fog instantly went away within 15 minutes. I was happy. I was content. I wasn't feeling anxious like I had for a couple years. I was just like, I felt like me, the best version of me. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But the funny thing is, you guys, is I had 4 days of the full dose. I shared 2 of those with my husband. I felt so naturally myself that I actually didn't think the coffee worked. So one day went by after not having the dose, and I was like, oh, how do I break it to Julie that it didn't really work? I feel super bad. Like, she sent me this product. The second day came up after not having dose. And I started feeling the same old way where I was grumpy, I was napping, I was not feeling like myself. And I thought, oh my gosh, this coffee really impacted my life. So I called Julie and I said, get me started. And I have not stopped ever since. I share it with everybody I can. I'm not aggressively, but I always have my happy coffee ears on in conversations so that I can hear people that need this product, because everybody needs it. If I was 38 and struggling like I was, I can't imagine anyone older or all these young mommies who are just trying to make it every day. And I thought, gosh, if I had this when I was young, with having new kids, new babies and all that stuff. And it's all natural. And I do want to share something that Jenny talked about, that the ingredients are all natural. And I am very much a believer in what you put in your body needs to be healthy, no additives and no artificial. I'm a cancer survivor. And so I've always been very aware of what I put inside my body. So when I knew this was all natural, it wasn't going to be harmful. There's no residual buildup that it's going to mess with my body's natural ability to do its thing. So, it's just incredible. I've been drinking it now for over 1.5 years, and I share it, and I'm making income for my family. And, one just praise report real quick is that this income has allowed us to just have a little more freedom in our finances. And one of the big things was last September, we went to the Kingdom of Tonga for a mission trip. And that was all paid for by my Happy Coffee business. And that's my goal, is to increase more so that we can do more of that. So thanks for having me on today.
Thank you so much, Camille. That just inspires me. I love your energy, and who doesn't want to be around the positive energy today, you know, spreading happiness. That's what it's all about. So thanks again. And, you know, sometimes we show a short little video and I didn't play it, but I want you to know that we have some really cool little videos that are very professional and short and sweet and that talk about our products. So the person that introduced you today, make sure they text you and get you onto the really good resources that we have available for you, because you're having a look at the tip of the iceberg here. So anyway, secondly, I'd like to bring on Jenny Palmer. If you are available to share your experience, that would be great. You want to
I'm here. Yeah. Am I unmuted? Yeah.
You are. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jen, for having me on today. Gosh, I've been taking the Happy Coffee from March the 4th this year. So I've had 3 months and just going into my 4th month. And look, I'm a trained skeptic because I've worked in news and current affairs television most of my life, 30 years of being a skeptic. So I'm trained. I'm really good at being skeptical. But when I heard about this, I wanted it to work so much because all my life, mental health has been a challenge for me. So my earliest memories are of anxiety and really low moods. I'm in my 60s now, I'm 65 this year, and in my 50s I was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. So that made sense that I had had this, you know, really difficult time with my mental health all my life. And I just was praying that this could be something. When I hear about the fact that it's a supplement for your brain, I thought that's where it's all for me. So when I had this, by day 3, I felt like I was a completely different person, except I was the person I was meant to be. I can't describe it. It's a really weird feeling, but just had the freedom to feel happiness and joy, which is something that is really an alien feeling for me. I've felt it a few times in my life, not very often. Not for want of, you know, having good life and you know, I've got 3 beautiful children, boys aged 26 up to 37. And I think now if I'd had this earlier in my life, it would have been completely different. I would have been a completely different mom, a completely different wife and friend. But now I feel like such freedom. This to me is freedom. My head is so clear. I've got none of that thing. You know, when you take medication, often you have that really terrible feeling of, you know, brain foggy and all that. So I have this incredible clarity. But on top of all that, like that would have been enough. Feeling happiness is enough, really, for me. But I had a terrible car accident when I was 17 and my knees have been terrible since then, like bad, really bad pain. And I was about 10 days in, I was walking up and down the stairs and I thought something's really different. And you know, I just don't have the pain anymore. My arm was terribly, badly broken, and always in winter it gives me hell. You know that thing of old people, you get these old aches and pains, and I don't feel it at all this winter. I mean, it's just so much. But the freedom thing for me, the freedom from needing chocolate, my contentment is right through the roof. And I guess that's why, you know, when you have these addictions to chocolate and all that sort of sweet stuff, I don't know how that works in my brain, but it's working really well. So happiness and joy, lack of pain, contentment. Even I drive differently because I'm so happy that I'm not in a rush. I'm actually arriving everywhere early for the first time in my life because I'm just calm, content me. So I'm enjoying my life so much. If I'd had this when I was younger, the best thing is sharing it with people so that my friends and my family can enjoy this before they get to 65 as well. So thanks, Jen. I've got so many things that I could say about it, but look, my life, I have my life. Before coffee, after coffee. BC, AC.
Jenny, that was amazing. And I love your blue glasses. They're so cool.
Oh, thank you.
They're really cool. That is amazing. You know, the product really does. It resets you. You know, you take it and it's like it finds out what you personally, individually need. And I have, you know, a couple of my really good friends that aren't sharing stories tonight, but two of my closest friends have gone down 4 pant sizes, lost 35 pounds. No more migraine headaches, you know, just from taking the dose. And we cannot by any means ever make a medical claim, but how can you deny your own personal story? So these are just personal stories here that we're sharing of what's happened in people's lives. So I just think it's amazing. And it's great that you have it in your latter end of your life, Jen, because you're going to finish strong with exclamation marks. So I'm just really excited. Thanks so much for sharing. So Donna Alderman, are you there? Would you like to unmute, please?
Sure, Jen, absolutely, I'm here. And again, you know, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share a little snippet of what's happened for me so far. I was really similar to Camille. I had, you know, all I knew about the products before they came here to Australia was that a friend of mine, Chris, who's on the call now, she rang me and said, look, you know, would you have a conversation with Neil? He knows about this new product that's going to come sometime soon in Australia. It's called Happy Coffee. And I just did an eye roll thinking, okay, that's an interesting term. And look, you know, previous to having children, I've got 4 sons. Previous to having children, I'd been involved in the fitness industry. And back then, I mean, things have changed a lot now, but back then that industry was full of magic lotions and potions and drinks and shakes and wraps and everything else that you could possibly imagine. And there was always someone trying to get me to promote something, sell something, try something, trial something, whatever, all the time. And what I found with the vast majority of those things is that they just didn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver. And so I carried that attitude when I was invited to find out about this. So I did have that conversation, luckily enough. Chris did get the courage to call me, and I did have that conversation. And, you know, some things that were spoken about tweaked my interest enough to do exactly what Camille did. And I also found some testimonials on YouTube. And the very first one I listened to was by a gentleman by the name of Mark Willardson, and he was telling me his story. I was so emotionally involved in what he was saying, I had to find out more. And so I just listened to story after story after story, and I couldn't wait to try these products for myself. And so Jenny Gray actually sent me some products before the products were launched here in Australia. And instantly I had a change. Like, I thought I was imagining it, but it was like a surreal type feeling. But what's happened for me now, I've been now using the products for a little over about 11 weeks. Some of the things that have happened for my physical well-being include things like my eyesight is improving. And I thought I was imagining that until somebody else is using the product said to me, I think my eyesight's improving. Oh my gosh, I think my eyesight's improving as well. So I realized I wasn't imagining it. So my eyesight's improving, my energy level is through the roof, and like, that's never been an issue for me. Okay, yeah, you know, I'm 50 something now, 54. And so I had started doing the nana nap things, you know, not very often, but every now and then, but I don't do that anymore. You know, I've always been a night owl. I'm still a night owl, but now I'm up early as well. And not only am I up, but I'm ready to face the day. Like, as soon as my eyes are awake, I'm ready to go. So that's been incredible. My sleep quality is amazing. I go into this incredibly deep sleep. You know, I wake up, you know, completely rested. My sugar, my sweet tooth has basically, like, it's disappeared. And I was queen of the desserts. You know, it was always tarts and cakes and double helpings of this and everything else, try the lot. And I just don't crave that anymore. I don't pop the, you know, the little chocolate bar into my handbag just in case, or for the drive home from the shopping. I don't do that anymore. You know, also a huge thing that I've noticed is up until probably about 2-3 weeks in, I'd always had really noisy joints, you know, my ankles and my knees, particularly my knees, just from years of really aggressive sport, netball and hockey and touch footy and stuff. And, you know, those stop-start sports, they really take their toll on your joints. And actually, I've since been told by my children that that was how they realised I was coming down the hallway when they were mucking around instead of going to sleep. They could actually hear me click, click, click down the hallway. Like, I don't make that noise anymore, which is very handy. So, you know, it's a huge difference for me physically, and also, you know, for my emotional and mental well-being. I've never suffered, you know, I've never been without joy and happiness. I've always had that always have felt like that. You know, generally, it's sort of quite optimistic and you know, being, I guess, to be able to look on the bright side of things. However, what I realised about 12 months ago is that I had, you know, since separating from a former, you know, abusive relationship, I had actually been suffering post-traumatic stress and hadn't realised it. And what I've noticed, Jen, since using these products, I noticed it probably about a month ago, things that would normally trigger that reaction, you know, a stress reaction, where I get that massive adrenaline dump into my bloodstream and sweaty hands and butterflies in your belly and that real anxious sort of knotted feeling. I just don't react like that anymore. It's incredible. So, you know, as Jen said, absolutely no medical claim whatsoever. That's simply been my experience on the products. I have no hesitation, absolutely no hesitation in recommending these products to everybody. And, you know, thanks for the opportunity to share, Jen.
It just, I mean, what kind of price do we put on these stories? Honestly, I mean, what would people pay to have these type of things happen in their life? We're so much more than coffee. This is incredible what I'm hearing. Every time I watch, you know, all the stories, someone joins, it's me again. I'm just moved, really moved, Donna. That's just incredible. And amazing what the Xanthromax does with anxiety, just how it helps with this, you know, the xanthorhumol, when you study xanthorhumol, how it helps with being confident and just helping you a lot. So thanks so much for sharing. And we have now our last but not least special Bianca Burgess. Are you there?
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So tough stories to follow, but I guess I was 30 and I just had my third baby. So young mum, I had 3 under 3. So I love my kids. I love my life. I thought I was pretty happy. 2018 was a pretty stressful year. I had a lot of personal stuff happen, and it was a tough year, but I had a supportive family, and my sister Alex had been using these products for quite some time. I didn't even know, actually, because it was here and then it wasn't here and that kind of thing. And then, yeah, March last year, she said, oh, I think, and I'm not a coffee drinker either, so I was really keen to try the chocolate, and I wasn't skeptical at all. I could see her getting thinner and I just wanted in on what she was having. So I said, yeah, can you get it for me? Like, and she had flown down to Brisbane to meet some of you guys who'd come over from the States. So she hooked me up with a month's worth of Choclavate and Xanthromax, and yeah, from day one, it was just incredible. I thought I was pretty happy, but I definitely had a short fuse. I've always been like that. I've always I can go from 0 to 1,000 in a split second, which is not something I'm proud of, but that's just always been how I am. And I was conscious of that and trying to change, but I just couldn't. Like, even when the kids would hurt themselves, like they just fall down or whatever would happen, and they'd let out that scream and it just rips through you. Instead of like running and like, oh, are you okay? I was like, what have you done? You know, what have you done now? Oh, look, this is, you know, blame, shame. And then like 5 minutes later, I would turn into, oh my gosh, are you okay? And the compassion would follow. And that frustrated me so much. And I didn't want to be like that. So I didn't realize how much of an effect it was going to have in that area of my life. But on the first day, one of the kids hurt themselves. I didn't even realize until about 10 minutes later, but I didn't react. They screamed. And I walked out and I said, oh no, what's happened here? Are you okay? And dealt with it. And then Alex was texting me throughout the day, how's it going? And I was like, oh my God, this actually just happened. And it had to be the chocolate. Yeah, I was just blown away. And my husband was taking it at the same time. So we were texting and I was like, I just feel like my heart is just calm. Like everything inside of me is just calm. And I could process things. And I started parenting in I call it a proactive way rather than a reactive way, because I was always parenting in a reactive state, never just reacting constantly to what was happening throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I thought I was a pretty good mum, but now I'm bloody amazing mum. And I just think I had this coffee when Lex was born, I would have, not made so many mistakes, but it's all learning. And there was a time there that we couldn't get the Xanthamax, and I think we could, but we let it lapse or something, and I went a week without it, and holy moly, it is important. I thought, I started to get that thought that Camille had too, like, oh, maybe I've changed and maybe it's me. But a week without Xanthamax, my husband was like, oh, what is going on? What is wrong with you? You have no. I'm like, oh no, I'm back. So yeah, I haven't missed a day. It's been over a year now. And it was hard to get there for a while, and we struggled sort of financially, but we just made it work. We put it in our budget, and because life without happy coffee for me is not a happy life. And I just wake up, like I'm up at 5:30 every day to get ready before the kids wake up, and I just jump out of bed and get to it. Last year was quite stressful with work as well. And I'd experienced that type of lifestyle before with the kids being young and working full time and traveling a lot with work, and it was just a nightmare. I would say even hit a state of depression, but I probably didn't realize. But yeah, so the same level of work, but just being able to process things and not be overwhelmed. It just changed my life. So I want to change all the other mummies' lives out there that are just feeling like that. You'll never look back. It's just incredible.
That's an incredible story, Bianca. And I just think about what an edge for all the young moms, even the husbands getting on Xanthamax and the happy coffee. I mean, goodness, I wish I had it when I was a young mom. I went through all what you went through without it.
I know.
And life is difficult. And so we need to stack all the odds in our favor, right? We need to have the stuff along the way and boost our system. So that's just an amazing story, Bianca. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, once again, how do we put a price on that, everybody? So I just really encourage the ones that are on today that have not tried this amazing happy coffee, we call it. You need to try it, and you need to be consistent with it. If, some people might like the flavor the first time, some people might not, but it doesn't matter. Just get it in. That they use coffee as a delivery system for the nootropics. So it's all about consistency. And as you get on the Xanthamax, make sure that you take that with lots of water, because the Xanthamax is a detoxer. And so it can detox you a little bit, but it's all about being consistent through your consistency and giving this product a good 90-day run every day, and lots of water. So I just really appreciate, you four ladies sharing amazing stories. I picked well, I think. I'm just happy that you're all here today. What a great Zoom replay we can share with other people that missed out today, because such powerful stories. And the stories sell, facts tell. I don't want to go out there and try to sell to someone and I'd rather like share a story. And that's what we do here in this culture. We just share stories, and we get all of these dosums recorded, and you know, you can tailor a testimonial to someone you might know that's suffering with different type of things, to someone that might have the same thing that they've experienced with this product. And try it. What have you got to lose? So we are a really fun community here. We hope to see you plug in, because it's so important to plug in. And like I said earlier, there's not more important time out there in this world than go out there and spread happiness, you guys. Would you agree with me? People out there need happiness. We build our business from Zoom to Zoom to Zoom, from our phone to Zoom. And we drink coffee, drink lemonade, makes a good zestarita, the lemonade, make good margaritas too. There are all kinds of fun things you can do with our beverages, but just give them a try. Hope to see you back here. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you have a great rest of your day today. Thanks, guys. Yay.
Great
Thanks,
job.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
night.
you. Great testimony, ladies.
Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a great night, everybody.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye all.
Thank you.